Cannon is still available though, so that could be something that Doran wants to look towards, and then there's a fair bit of physical damage in both a Lethalic Varus and an Ambessa.
It's Sivir, right? It's got to be a Sivir lane.
I think it should be, and I actually think that it's great into Sylas as well. Like, On the Hunt doesn't give you massive amounts of value stolen away, and then a Mantra gives you basically nothing. So I think if it's a Sivir Karma angle that they're going for, then it kind of looks pretty good into what T1 have put down already. And so there is the Sivir locked in first. Is Keria going to pick away the Karma? It would mean that they have next to no engage, and so maybe that is not what they're going to look towards.
Yeah, I don't think that's what you want. I think the Renata is an interesting possibility because it's very strong into their comp overall to allow them to disengage. But it's a really tough call that has to be made here. And also, we don't yet know 100% where that Ambessa is going. You take the Alistar on your side, and this is basically just essentially saying, Alistar's great into Sivir. You know, we have the Sylas on our side, and now is fearlessly banned for the rest of the series. Feels like a very potent pick here, but for top and for jungle, Mystery's still here.
Yeah, let's see what they are going to do.
Cannon is definitely viable here. It's a lot of magic damage, but I think you can play it because it gives you insane engage, and it can be great for disengage as well into BNK.
Yeah, Keria taking his time, figuring out what he's going to pick up for either Doran or Ona. And the Rek'Sai is coming in, so that will be the jungle Ambessa. And Poppy will be the
pretty good Poppy
lock.
angle. Like, you can, when you go for Poppy support, it's so scary unless you have all the information, right? And
yeah,
when you have
like this. So let's get into the rift here for game number 2. I really do appreciate that one BNK fan that screeches every time. You know, they're just trying to even it out because we know the T1 fans are just pretty loud here in LoL Park today.
In game 1, it was so much louder than it was this time that it made me check make sure everything was safe. Like,
yeah, we both looked around. We're like, hang on a second.
It sounded like something nefarious had occurred, or
yeah,
maybe there was an insect in the building, or...
Is Insect here? That's kind of cool.
Not with Lee Sin banned, I suppose.
I assume not. All right, Diablo and Kellen doing a little bit of battle here. Obviously, the level 1 of the Alistar, not exactly going to be the most fun. And so BNK might be able to get themselves a little bit of a fun time. However, T1 do decide to go for a cheeky level 1 headbutt angle.
Yeah, the good old level 1 headbutt heal that we've seen so much this season. Like, people figured out, okay, it's unplayable for Alistar level 1. You just got to use your heal and hope for the best. You just go for that one headbutt and just push them away and go heal. All right, we're going to get level 2 eventually. We'll survive this.
And now Diablo gets to just press W and make the waves disappear. Obviously, it takes a little bit longer at the early levels, but still going to guarantee the shove as he does a pretty good job clearing out all of these minions as well. So finally, Pays gets a wave to have a look at. Faker connects some chains here onto Vikla, but he gets lit on fire. And Vikla is able to stand his ground.
Actually, I really like the Ignite tech, or the heal deny especially as well, into the Sylas.
Yeah, the all-ins are actually pretty dangerous here for the Ahri.
And you have to be really careful, but ideally you don't want to get caught by chains ever, but the Ignite buys Vikla that extra space here to win the trade anyways. But it's a big trade-off, obviously, without teleport.
Yep, and you're not a top laner, so you don't get it for free.
Yeah, at least you have home guards, I suppose.
All right, so Vikla is going to send Faker home a little bit early here, but he's just going to go for a tempo back as good steadfast presence there from Kellen, and Keria takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, it turns out that Spell Shield's not very good into Alistar, but Steadfast Presence is.
It very much is.
Kind of covering that little base there as well.
And, oh, okay, good Charm connects onto Faker here, who hasn't actually teleported yet, thank goodness, and he will now go back home.
Greeting a little bit there, but will not die.
Oh, Doran in a bit of trouble. There's the flash from Clear, and realizes that he doesn't actually have kill pressure. So that is just flash on cooldown. Doran now looking to go back home. As Raptor, Flagon, and Dragon looking to get towards Ona, who is in the river here. All right,
this
so
is a BNK game.
Stuff. Yeah,
it's a BNK game. There's no breathing room. There's no early, like, oh, let's see how this laning phase goes. It's been pretty calm, just farming it out. It's just constant aggression, but it has paid off. Well, minus the flash on the top side. That one didn't really pay off. But otherwise, it's been paying off.
Well, heal coming on 3 here as Pays in a little bit of trouble. Keria wanting to get that headbutt angle, but Kellen has steadfast presence, so it's so hard to press that W button. Oh, man. All right, BNK with retained control here towards this bottom side. And it is translating into a little bit of a lead as far as money is concerned for BNK, but nothing that's too much to worry about on the T1 side.
FaZe does have teleport, so, you know, Diablo wants to try to force these all-ins as much as he can. Used the barrier earlier. Doesn't have it anymore, but we'll have it up again soon. But because of the teleport, even if FaZe gets chunked down, can always feel pretty safe to just get back to lane for free. As Vikla, again, just trying to trade aggressively. Knight comes back, he can continue to do that as he's really pushing ahead here in the mid lane.
Yeah.
Taking a very significant CS advantage and has chipped away at the second plate. Gonna force Faker to take another early back here and doesn't have his teleport anymore. And because Vikla took Ignite, you want to be able to get this value early, and so far it is working incredibly well for him.
Yeah, this is what you need to do if you have decided to not take the teleport.
Like, look at how much Faker could potentially lose here off of this wave as well, because he has to run back. He has boots, that'll help a little bit, but so much lost money.
Yeah, home guard, pretty important for trying to avoid that, but as you said, not able to pick up too many of these. Boomerang Blade, high value there from Diablo. T1 with this wave pushed back, should be absolutely fine. Both of our bottom laners with culls in hand. As Raptor looking for that angle, in goes Kellen. And Carrier will just wander towards the Jarvan. There is a flag and drag buffered beautifully by Raptor, gets himself out of dodge. And the mid lane under control here from Faker as he does make his way back. So understandable that they don't want to go too far. As clear with the Dominus against Doran. And the slice comes through, but Doran tunnels his way out.
Too bad.
Go back home.
Clear flashed earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
wish he had it there. But he is still going to get a pretty nice advantage from this, and will continue to hit that topside turret, so not all for nothing there, despite not having the flash to follow. Gets the flash out of Doran, and will get plate money and deny farm.
Yeah,
BNK's early game, pretty insane.
Well, that's a great knock-up as the flash charm comes through. Ona is lit on fire, and that is first blood going over to the Jarvan. Vikla avoids the chains as Faker has stolen the ulti and will find the follow-up kill. Now Carrier moving over, but is unable to get the headbutt over the wall. And does have flash, but did not want to invest it. So Faker's on the board, but so is Raptor.
Raptor picking up that kill rather than the Ahri. Ideal, but still a very aggressive play. Faker is able to trade it back, but some really nice footwork there from Vikla.
Yeah.
Luckily for him, he's not the one who dies, as that's a big chunk.
Yeah, good old Varus just being able to do a whole lot of damage. I believe that was W empowered.
Yeah, with the cull in inventory.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a Dirk.
Not sure where that damage came from outside of pressing W. As Vikla still with the lead here in this mid lane, but let's have a look at how this all eventuated as a battle over the ward sort of started it off.
This mid-jungle synergy and the communication and how crisp they are with this, also the dodge on the chains here from Vikla, very impressive. Raptor went so deep, though, that there's no real way to get out of here. Faker flashes. Unfortunately for him, that's not going to amount to anything.
Yeah, not able to get on top, but keeping them honest, making sure that Kellen was rotating up. And that is denied. Man, this Poppy is going to be such a big deal in this game. Like, so much of this rests on how Kellen plays a lot of these later game team fights, with the amount of value that you can get out of the Steadfast Presence, and with the fact that creating space with the Keeper's Verdict is going to be so incredibly important. Owner is making his way in. Public Execution goes wide, though, but the chains do connect. Good charm from Vikla, but I don't know whether he's out of dodge just yet, as he is going to get taken down. There is the Cataclysm, though, as now Owner stuck inside the circle. Teleports coming in, but they're turtle ports. And oh my goodness, the takedown from this Poppy as he just heroically charges Ambessa to the Nether Realm.
Yeah, that was a pretty quick reaction there from Kellen, despite the fact that the turtle port takes forever to get in. He was able to get that punish there, and he communicates with Raptor. That's why Raptor commits the Cataclysm and Flash to hold him down for long enough. It's a kill onto a Poppy, so not the most impactful, but it pushes Owner off of the map, which is the more powerful aspect of this.
Yep, there's also the fact that now Faker has a gold advantage.
Yes.
And that's the big deal here. T1 are making sure that Faker is going to be a menace in side lanes, and I think at the moment, it's looking like mission successful. And grubs do spawn.
It's crazy that Vikla, like, he's able to react here and dodge, but because he doesn't have flash, obviously, he could dodge one, but you know, you can't really get both, as Raptor does come over here quickly, flashes for the Cataclysm to hold Owner in place so that this Poppy can get something done. He actually almost gets the damage done himself with that last flag. And
yeah,
ultimately,
and then,
Faker gets a lot of money, like you said.
Yep. And if Kellen actually could have stuck around and possibly got a heroic charge into the wall in turret range or something like that, it might have been an extra kill. So the fact that Raptor wasn't able to finish off Owner with that 1Q, actually kind of a big deal. As Clear once again just doing a little bit too much damage to Doran, but is taking a fair bit in turn. Still has dominance, so obviously not close to dead.
The Executioner's calling is super high value in this matchup, and he got it early with the lead that he had, and was able to really continue to apply that pressure and hurt the sustain of the Rek'Sai, something that you don't normally get to have with a pickaxe as well in inventory this early. So feeling very powerful, and it will wield the sword to its fullest effect here. As Vikla is no longer in free bully territory, has to play really well, as you can see here, to try to trade back. Raptor nearby.
Yeah. And Raptor is going to now try and challenge for this dragon. Kellen moving over. Does have the Keeper's Verdict available. Let's see whether he can use it to guarantee some position. But there's the Flash Pulverize. He does get the ulti off, but it's only on to Carrier, and he just dies. As a result, still Raptor's able to take the dragon. That could be important. Flags and Drags gets himself out. Poppy for Drake? I guess you'd possibly take that.
Yeah, it really depends on what soul we get, but feels pretty nice, at least initially here. As top laners both having teleport, but we're not interested in the dragon fight, which does make sense, especially because of the ability to stop said teleports on both sides. And Raptor now has his Sundered Sky. He got out, did have his flag and drag, didn't have his flash, which was a big concern for looking for that contest on the dragon itself. This Faker.
There's a big old Cataclysm. Manages to get the ulti out of Vikla here, as we do have the teleport upgrading, but we don't see the charm. Still the Cataclysm comes in, and Raptor's there to bail out his mid laner.
Man, the mid jungle today out of BNK is pretty unreal. Game 1 to start things off with the Pantheon Orianna, and then here on this Ahri. So many resources being given to Vikla, but man, Raptor has been everywhere. The Poppy ultimate here does push the Alistar away, but he sacrificed his life, but it ends up being enough space here for Raptor to get this dragon without using his flag and drag, so he can then use it to escape. And the Raptor comes in here very late, and it's almost as if Vikla and him have been coordinated, because he was walking up mid straight up before this, right? And then Vikla misses the charm, but that's the go button for Faker. He's like, I'm going in, and look at this, just barely.
Yeah.
Not enough damage.
It's crazy because T1 pinged exactly where Raptor was at that time as well. I think they knew just how narrow that window was. The flash forward from Clear looks to take down Doran and just barely misses it once again. But it's a win flash for him flash and sends him home.
Sends him home, and he has his dominance running. Can go over here and take some additional plate money and force Doran to TP. He gets to hold on to his. A huge win here is Clear. Having a really nice performance on this Renekton. Again, like I've said, is probably his best champion this season. They gave it to him early. They protected it with an R-ban. It is working a treat.
Yeah, and it's not exactly the Rek'Sai matchup that you really want, right? Often Rek'Sai wants to abuse tanks. Renekton is not a tank, and so maybe not necessarily working out for that reason. As Vikla clearing out this wave quite nicely. Look at how tanky this guy is. He's got his Black Cleaver completed already. Clear ready to cut down Doran. And Vikla now freed up in this lane.
Might have our first grub of the series.
Oh, true. Okay, let's see whether they are actually taking
I'm just
3
kidding.
minutes. Yeah, Owner is no... I mean, Owner is right next to it, but I just don't think he's going to be taking it. We do have a ping out from Raptor, though. So maybe that means that BNK are going to look to take that down. Man, Diablo is almost insta-clearing waves already on this Sivir.
And, I mean, now Jarvan clearing towards topside here. Maybe he gets one, you know? I mean, you're nearby. What do you think, Raptor?
He did ping it.
He's pinging it. He's going. There's no cross map, really. So T1 going to rotate Pays into the mid lane here. Yeah. Baker's going bottom side, but doesn't have TP, and I think it should just be free grubs here. And Vikla can hold this wave, and then they could swap him to the bottom lane and send the Sivir mid. As BNK, once again, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it's solid macro.
Well, Diablo is in a little bit of trouble. However, Faker runs out of buttons to press as Vikla... Wow, that was a lot of damage out of Pace. Actually threw out the Chains of Corruption to make sure that that Blight was stacked up.
Yeah, unfortunately,
vision where he can.
For T1, not able to get anything huge back, but at least delay some of that swap back for the Sivir into the mid lane, and we'll be able to get plate for Pays. Pays plate goes over, and now the Ahri does go to the bottom lane. Diablo's going to come here mid. Few minions lost, so it's what T1 get a return for the 3 grubs.
All right, Doran is going to be feeling a little bit better now that the Titanic Hydra is completed. Clear still will be just fine, culling the Meek over and over there in that lane as Diablo parked in mid, the favorite place of the Sivir.
Likes to be there. He's not really clearing them fast. He wants to just kind of deny here a little bit, keep the wave in a safe spot, which does make sense. And we're going to have, in the next minute, that dragon here. BNK could take a 2 Drake lead and deny a very valuable individual Drake here from T1 in that mountain. Be pretty huge for them. Pretty decent for BNK as well, just stats-wise, but for T1 it feels arguably way more valuable.
Yep. I think as well, double dragon would mean a whole lot in this game especially.
Yes, with the Sivir and the scaling elements that we've already discussed with that. So much extra freedom to just farm it out and ignore team fights. This game is a lot less bloody than the last one, but still a lot of action.
There's another Dominus as Raptor's going in, but so is Carrier over the other side. But trading places not quite working out. Public execution onto the Jarvan as the Cataclysm comes down. He tries to get out, but he fails. And it's Owner that takes down his opposition. Kellen's flashing. They know that they have to get out of there, and Diablo has to flash as well, as now Faker has discovered the Poppy. And I don't know whether Kellen is going to be escaping this one. The charm is going to get avoided, and Kellen should be going down. It takes a bit of Kellen to take down a Poppy, but Faker is going to get him in the end. As Clear might just take this turret and got a solo kill onto Doran, I believe, in the top lane while that was all happening.
Yeah, finally he got the kill he's been looking for all game. Finally this time the margins were there. He does not have boots, by the way, still. Ends up killing the Rex side there and taking the turret out. So going back to this fight, it's a little bit bizarre. Oh, we're just going to watch this first. Let's see.
Yeah, this was when the Dominus got popped, and I was expecting Doran to just kind of tunnel, but instead he ulted and died, I think. Yeah.
I don't think he had a tunnel to use there. And then here, not 100% sure what the game plan was for this one for Raptor, because Pays is here, and Diablo's on the other side of the wall, and is not that high range on the Sivir. And then there was some shenanigans here where Kellen tries to buy time to try to deny Faker. Faker's flash is phenomenal against the charm that Vikla has over the wall here. The reaction is so crisp. Watch this.
Yeah,
he's just not going to let anything go wrong in this one, and we'll pick up the kill.
And so Rift Herald, in the meantime, is going to go over to BNK. That might help alleviate some of the issues, but Faker is problematic here for BNK. 4-1-0 on this Sylas. They've made sure that the money goes his way, and they know, I mean, Faker has won world championships with this champion. He is very, very good at getting the value out of Sylas.
Yeah, you know, it turns out the guy who's played the most champions in mid lane over the longest period of time, who has the most experience in League of Legends, can use the ultimates of other champions incredibly well.
I'm surprised he doesn't play more Viego mid, because I feel like his skill set would certainly help him there.
Yeah, you might be onto something.
We'll see whether he does get that. Viego was almost a mid laner.
It was for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Remember Chovy played it fairly recently?
Yeah,
it was kind of funny.
It was that one time. And then I think it got nerfed into oblivion, or they just realized it wasn't good. And then no one played it anymore. And that made me a bit sad, because it is a fun champion to be available on the Rift.
Viego's Q is very difficult to balance around not being in the jungle.
Yeah.
I think that's why they have to be very careful, the balance team that is. As a TP is going to come through here for Faker. And we're grouped around the bottom side. There's no dragon for 3 minutes. We're fighting anyways.
Yeah, Roy Charge comes in. Carrier does have the ulti as Chains of Corruption does connect. And now Raptor well in amongst it. Public execution not quite going to work out, but even through the Unbreakable Will, it is going to be the cow going down. Great steadfast presence there, but Kellen, I think, is still going to get taken out as Faker is just way too big in this game. Took a lot to take down the Poppy, though, and there is the shutdown onto Diablo as Faker is going to fall finally. And now you've got Raptor riding this Rift Herald into all the crystalline overgrowth in the mid lane. That is going to be BNK taking out this outer turret in mid,
the second
getting
turret of the game.
More money.
Yeah, this is a really strong position here right now for BNK.
Diablo.
And like, I don't know where he's going to send it. I guess just
just into the wall.
Into the wall. The fights, we keep watching these fights where Kellen dies, but he does so much work on this Poppy. Like, he goes in here onto Carrier to start things off, right? And the enemy jungler isn't anywhere nearby, so the punish play here during Carrier's ultimate just really isn't there. So Carrier's tanking, but they can't really get anything in return. And so many of these fights I'm watching, damage dealers on the side of T1 or junglers getting hit, and Kellen's the one who's getting hit on the other side. He's blocking for Vikla here, right? Poppy just takes so long to take out. Vikla just changes targets here initially, zones Owner away, hits the charm onto Faker, and Pays is so low he can't rejoin. Then Doran TP's in to try to save the day and can offer nothing. And Kellen is just, he's everywhere in this game.
And Faker also missed the Keeper's Verdict that he'd stolen away.
Yeah.
And so actually kind of a big deal that he needed to invest so much more time to try and kill Kellen. A large reason why it looked like this Poppy survived for way longer than he had any right to. As Vikla clears out this wave. But look at the massive lead for this Crocodile. I mean, Clear is just so large in this game. And the fact that Doran isn't really able to do too much and is soon going to be staring down the barrel of a 2-item Renekton. As soon as Clear turns up into team fights, what is Pace supposed to do?
Yeah, you know? Run away and hope that Faker's big enough. And right now, Faker's lead is significantly smaller than it was before. He's the only one with the lead here for T1 anywhere. And I just am starting to worry that this Sivir has gotten too large, too early, and the composition is just so easy to play out from here. And Vikla's having a phenomenal performance on one of his best picks.
Yeah, he's looking real good. Faker, though, is the one that's still holding a gold lead for T1. And it's just such an unknown factor. The Silas we saw in the last fight didn't quite work out, but in the next one, it may just hard carry, you know? As Doran is going to get interrupted. It's just a little bit frustrating. I don't think he's going to be going down. But look at this. The Bash Brothers have so much health, and these two brawlers are really going to be a struggle for T1 to figure out.
We haven't talked about it too much, but Cloud Soul on Sivir.
Oh, yeah.
And on Ahri. And
I was just quietly very happy.
And, you know, it's kind of like... It's pretty big. It's obviously very good for Silas and Ambessa and for even the Alistair as well. I mean, Cloud Soul is just really powerful, but if BNK are able to get this and buy additional time for this Sivir comp that they don't even necessarily need, it's pretty huge, but they are not set up to contest, and there's no TP for Vikla.
All right, now they're going to try and turn onto Raptor. There's the flash knock-up as Keeper's Verdict just gets rid of two of them and keeps Raptor alive. Still, the Drake is going to get rushed down, and T1 will hit Double Dragon before BNK as Faker. Okay, Charm is going to miss. Faker's reaction time is really making me feel like I should be better at League of Legends. I keep blaming the fact that I am getting on in age.
He's still younger than you.
He is younger than me. However, his reaction time is definitely better than mine ever was, ever. You know, I could have been an infant and I would never have been able to react that well.
I am a little bit... Like, the way that was played out for BNK made me feel a little bit nervous about what the rest of these fights could look like because it was a bit haphazard, but however...
All right, there's a knock-up onto Ona. As Chain's going to miss, Vikla now looking for a way to get in. Great Charm is going to connect, but the public execution is going to mitigate it completely, and down goes Raptor. Vikla should be following here as the auto is in the air from Paze, and they just wipe out the Fox Lady. That should be Baron, and oh dear. Oh,
yeah.
The game was there, it was on the hands, and now it's missing.
Yeah, I kind of was leading into, I'm a little bit concerned about how BNK are setting up because it's very haphazard because of things like this, right? It's a very scrappy composition that T1 have with Ambessa and Silas, and if you give them the opportunity, they will just smash in skirmishes, even with this gold deficit, which is quite small now, as the timing on Owner's ultimate is what really is the kicker here because he's able to mitigate the charm entirely as Vikla avoids the chains, and look at this charm, he's like, got him, but unfortunately, not only does he mitigate it, but he also takes Raptor out at the same time, and Vikla's way too deep, cannot escape. And so that's 2 kills, and that is the Baron. In the meanwhile, Clear did get that outer turret in the bottom lane, and is still a big threat on this Renekton, but T1 have taken control of this game.
Yeah, Paze now gets the evolution on his Mirror Manor at the same time. That's 3 items complete, as he already had the Edge of Night done. So this Varus is extremely scary, and you can see, like, Diablo, I believe, is building towards Lord Dom's next as well, so that's going to put back the Infinity Edge that he really wants a little bit later to 4 items. And so this Sivir is not going to be that massive threat until much later in this game, if we even get there, as T1 look to take down their first turret of the Baron.
Yeah,
you can see already the Rebel Baron power play ticking over 1,000.
That's the gold lead for T1 really for the first time, but it's more than gold that T1 will gain from this, as you mentioned, and all of this control, all of this siege, putting the Sivir on the back foot, they're going to turn that into a turret take here in mid, which is arguably the most important turret right now that T1 haven't gotten.
Well, there is Dominuses happening all over the place here as Faker is fighting against Clear. Doesn't quite find the Chain Lash, but Cull the Meek not exactly doing exactly what it wants. As Faker gets flashed on here, Clear looks for the angle, and he gets sliced and diced!
The only way
Clear cleans him up!
The only way Clear wins that is buying enough time, and he's even getting the TP out.
Oh, man!
The only way he wins that is if he gets enough from his Dominus to actually get the empowered W. He knows that. He flashes on Faker. Faker does not react. The empowered W takes him down. That was a really good judgment there from Clear in that moment. Knows his Dominus is ticking, knows he can get that W off. That's all he needs. Faker looks pretty frustrated on the player cam there because that was a huge opportunity. He thought turned against him completely. He's 2 levels down because Clear has finished his quest a long time ago, and it's quite massive on this Renekton.
Yeah, this is one of those moments where, I mean,
you feel it.
Yeah, Faker presses tab a lot, right? But he maybe wasn't focusing on the fact that Clear had gotten a gigantic lead in this game. And so maybe had some choice words for Doran afterwards. He's like, what did you do to this crocodile, man? Let's have a look at this one more time, as honestly, it wasn't like that. It was very close to Faker actually winning out on this trade.
6, 5, 4. He needs it so desperately, right? Gets the empowered Q, backs away, waits for his Fury, and waits for his W. Flashes on, gets the W, Qs him, and has enough damage there with the slice and dice coming up at the last possible second. Clears judgment, insane in this moment. And then takes the teleport out.
Just gorgeous. Also doesn't take the cannon because he knows that otherwise he'd die. Everything about it just gorgeously well played. And so this Renekton, certainly the big boss here for BNK. 3 items now done for Diablo as well, as the Lord Doms is now complete.
This Ambessa is kind of crazy big as well here for T1. Like,
yeah.
Endless Hunger, an item that I think Riot built for champions like Ambessa, but junglers don't always have the income required to have that. But he also has the Death Stance, so he's difficult to kill, is going to be dashing a lot, is going to be doing massive amounts of damage when his Shojins is constantly stacked as well. Like, this is Ambessa's dream, these 3 items all together. And with Sylas there as well, Diablo has to be very careful about how he's positioned. It's going to take a long time to cut through that front line.
Yeah. All right, let's see whether BNK can find themselves a team fight, though. That's going to be the question, as Vikla has to throw down the ulti. Doran a little bit frustrating here on the sidelines, but does have his ultimate on cooldown as well. Maybe isn't going to be quite as dangerous in teamfights. Still, this is going to be sole point for T1 if they're able to lock down this dragon. And they do pull it out, and I don't see too much of a contest here out of BNK. Let's see whether Raptor can go for a bit of a steal, as Keeper's Verdict just gets cancelled immediately.
Yeah, they just want to knock one away and steal one. That doesn't work. They just back off. They were just hoping for Keeper's Verdict into a little flag and drag action. Maybe they can get the punish.
Yeah. As Chains of Corruption connects onto Kellen, he just absorbs so much damage. And he's now just not really going to be a factor here in this fight, as Doran tries to save this turret. These minions just die so quickly. Faker in a side lane, though.
Yeah.
This is the problem. T1 can just sort of build the clock.
Faker also, I think, I'm not sure if he should stay here because there's company coming. His top laner has teleport.
Yeah, and we know that just the Crocodile is a dangerous one. Now there's a job in there as well. Teleport's coming in, Cataclysm goes down, and now with this teleport coming through, Doran does have a large shield, but I don't know whether he's going to have it for very long. And in fact, it just immediately evaporates. He now has to tunnel his way out. And with On the Hunt, there is a chance that BNK can even catch up to this Rek'Sai, although Raptor is going to find it with the flash. Doran now gets a little bit of a knock-up, though, and does have the ulti back off cooldown, and Clear is there with the Ruthless Predator, and down goes the Rek'Sai.
BNK out-macroing T1?
Oh dear, and maybe it's not over, as Owner is going to discover Clear and then just dashes away Ambessa style.
Like, everything about what BNK just did, beyond like the kill they get onto Faker, Doran's TP is late, he dies, just an extra donation, but the way they set up that dragon as well, we're like, all right, let's see if we can get the Keeper's Verdict steal. Also, Sivir's pushing mid, we're going to get plates, we're threatening the mid turret, we're doing all this at the same time, and then we're going to be able to get the punish here onto Faker if he stays. Faker decides not to take his Empowered Recall, because he has Empowered Recall, right? And he doesn't want to use it here, and he's like, oh, maybe I could stay, get something out of this, because Doran has TP. But this Renekton, I thought we made it clear, pun intended, that this guy is just going to do damage too quickly, and then Doran is just a wet noodle in this game, so he shows up and he's like, oh god, well at least I'm Rek'Sai, I can get out, right? But unfortunately he doesn't really have tunnels set up on this side of the map, and Raptor catches him here, and he will also fall.
It was actually almost enough damage there, but Clear with the buffed W means that there was no way that Doran was going to do anything at all. So really nicely played from BNK to make sure that they could get both of those kills. They've been invested to make sure that it happens.
Those kills mean that they can get some vision around Baron now, and potentially start to threaten turns off of this, and they will do exactly that right now. Faker still has TP.
Yeah, Doran is towards the top side as well, so he can rotate down, but they're going to have to get a move on. As Raptor realizing he's the only one in the pit.
I think they just wanted Faker's TP, and T1 do not take the bait. Oh, I see that. Faker does actually, in fact, TP into mid.
And he finally has level 3 hijack as well. So that Dominus will be doing as much as clears. The last couple of times he picked a fight with the Crocodile, it was 1 level behind, which really is a big deal. And now he's got a SKirmishes gauge. He's level 18, moving very swiftly towards level 19. SKirmishes, one of those items that really does work better when you have way more levels than everyone else.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy how levels can impact items like that. And the value of this Executioner's Calling into the Rek'Sai was quite huge. It's pretty good into the Sylas as well.
And the Ambessa,
yeah,
who has a death stance first. Yeah. So it kind of doing more than you'd expect.
Yeah, maybe he should finish it.
Could just like, maybe it's just like one of those things, you know, it makes you feel even better if it's just an Executioner's Calling for the entire game.
Yeah, I guess, I don't even know if there's a tooltip for the heal denied, probably not. But,
oh yeah, like the counts how much healing is denied?
You'd be like, just putting that in the post game, by the way, look at how much value for gold I got.
Yeah,
with
just
this
like
item.
start pinging it over and over again. Heck yeah.
But getting a GA would also feel really nice, because it's very difficult to kill him, and killing him a second time just sounds kind of out of the question, unless the fight is won despite it.
Yep.
As we do have the Shadow Flame down for Vikla now. He has been behind Faker a lot of this game, but still made a lot of impacts with his charms. And for the rest of this game, it's really about, can T1 secure Cloud Soul or win a team fight on the Dragon to then get Baron to kind of close this one out. I think that's what T1 need. In terms of gold, it's 1.3k at 30 minutes, not the biggest gold lead. Nothing really to write home about.
Yep, and we do actually have those healing reduced numbers. 2,763 health.
That's a lot.
That's quite a lot.
And over 300 regen.
Yeah, not too bad. So T1 now set up around this Dragon that is going to be coming up in 25 seconds. BNK finally actually here to fight for it, not wanting T1 to get a free soul. I think that makes a lot of sense. And let's see whether Diablo can actually make himself known here on the map, because so far, a bit of a quiet game for the Sivir this time.
This is
As
really,
in game 1, he was definitely one of the main characters.
It's really tricky for T1 to fight this out, because the positioning of Diablo is so good. Look at Owner wrapping around, trying to find an angle onto this AD carry. They need to kill Diablo. That's the only target they want.
Ooh, great charm going to connect that onto Owner. Not able to buffer any public executions this time.
Look at Clear's positioning as well. He's also threatening on the flank.
Yep. And does have the Cloud Rift there as well to make sure that he's real speedy. As Dorian gets the knocker, as he has to slice to get out of the way, but there's the Keeper's Verdict now on cooldown. Gets rid of Doran here in this moment. Public execution comes down. SKirmishes not quite going to be enough. However, he does slice his way out even through the exhaust. But now going to have to be teleporting back into this fight, and the Dragon has already been started here by T1. Kellen looking for an angle. Vikla dives in, gets the charm onto Faker, and then gets himself out. Faker steals away his ultimate, though, as now Diablo having to flash, but he'll be taken out as Pace snipes him from the back line. He'll get rid of the Poppy as well, and now Faker's popping off, getting those resets, and finally Clear comes back in, but he's alone. T1's team fighting just too good in the end, and it's only Raptor that lives to tell the tale.
And Vikla's gambit of going in there, looking for Faker, absolutely does not pay off, and it's in that moment the rest of T1 get on top of Diablo. And their objective in this fight was to secure Dragon. They didn't need to win the fight. They were trying to zone. The initial setup was really good here for BNK. Kellen also using his Keeper's Verdict very early, and I think he really will regret this choice because he only gets Doran and now can no longer affect the zoning here or really positioning of anybody to try to win the war of attrition to secure Dragon. Dragon's so healthy, BNK aren't looking for a flip anymore, and they get a little bit indecisive here. And Raptor, look at he's hanging out. He wants to try to look for the steal. Then Vikla goes in here, and look at who's now opened up. It's Diablo. Doran gets on top of him. He's showed back up in the fight. The follow-up is easy. And T1 get Cloud Soul and Baron. And I think that is likely enough for them to tie us up 1-1.
Yep, that's feeling pretty lights out here for BNK, who just didn't have the same level of cohesion that we'd seen throughout the rest of this series in that team fight. The fact that On The Hunt got zero value because they hear the Sivir get real loud and yelling and stuff like that. T1 then immediately back away. And BNK weren't able to then turn that into something like a Dragon take for themselves or anything like that. T1 just bide their time, come back, take them down. So BNK back to the drawing board here. They still have a scary team fighting composition as it's a great charm to connect onto Faker. It's not looking too consequential at this point in time, and these spirit rushes that Faker has been using have been pretty diabolical.
Pretty horrifying. Sylas speedy. And with Cloud Soul, it's pretty insane. IE's done for Diablo. It's going to have to put it to good work here on this defense. Sivir can buy you so much space against Baron because her wave clear, as you can see on your screen and with your eyes right now, is pretty bonkers. But it's still not going to... Okay, hold up. Diablo, no.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see is Diablo. I don't think he's going to be able to spell shield that one as Raptor looks to try and put Faker into the Cataclysm, and it does not work. This is game over, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot have a Sivir step that far forward. As Clear says, yes, in this game I was very fed, but unfortunately if my whole team dies, I cannot do it alone. That's going to be the ace, and T1 just go from winning a team fight to game over in the click of your fingers.
Yep, that's all it takes. And poor Diablo, he cleared that wave really hard.
He did.
But he could not clear the champions.
No, and maybe he didn't need to clear